what's up? It's Todd, and today I want to talk to you about a question I get asked all the time. It's a good question, but I think a misguided one, which is, as I'm getting serious about pickup, how do I deal with my friends that aren't into it? How do I deal with the friends I had before? And a lot of guys have this idea that they need to get rid of their old friends, which I think is misguided, but it's coming from a good place. And the idea is this whole idea that you are the sum of the 5 people you hang out with the most. So if you're upwardly mobile and trying to make something of yourself, step out of the box, achieve something, can you really do that while hanging out with a bunch of guys that are still doing the things that are your old habits? Will you get dragged down into those habits? And it is quite possible that you could, to an extent, get dragged down into those habits. So that's something you obviously want to prevent. That said, I do think that being as sort of as absolute as I need to get rid of all my old friends or whatever, I think that's a little crazy too. And I think it shows sort of a misguided understanding of what a friend is and what a friend isn't, right? What you expect your friends to be for you. So if you think that your friends are someone you have to hang out with 24/7 at all times, at all costs, no matter what, then yeah, that's a problem. However, if your friends are just, like-minded people who you enjoy spending time with, enjoy doing some activities with, then I think it's totally fine to, keep those people in your life. And then what's going to happen is, rather than trying to get rid of your old non-pickup friends, what's going to happen is you're just going to add. You're going to add a few pickup friends. You're going to add some people that are into the same thing that you're into. The idea of getting rid of your friends is kind of weird. I mean, if I were to tell you I'm going to join a bowling league, so I'm going to get rid of all my friends who don't bowl, you'd be like, what, you're crazy? But somehow when you talk about it within the context of pickup, it makes sense. And again, the reason is that pickup it can be the sort of core, the sort of kernel of growth and all these other self-actualization and self-improving activities that you're doing. Also, it's a little bit controversial. So the issue is when you have non-pickup friends in pickup, a lot of times they'll be like, oh, why are you doing that? Just be yourself. Or, oh, that's weird and awkward. Because a lot of times, a couple of things are happening. Number one, when you're first stepping up and doing pickup, you might seem a little awkward, right? You aren't doing it as smoothly as it could possibly be done. And yeah, there might be some awkward times. So they might even be right that it is a little more awkward at first than not doing it. It's also quite possible that they're going to be jealous, envious, or scared of the idea. Because the problem is, if pickup exists and it works, and they're not doing it, how do they justify that to themselves? How do they justify them being lonely, not having a girlfriend, not striving for the things they want in life, when they clearly see their friend stepping up and doing it? So it is actually technically a threat to them. It's a threat to their ego. It's a threat to their paradigm of the world. It's a threat to their self-esteem. So you have to understand that from that sort of a perspective. So here is my actual advice. Do not just blindly get rid of your non-pickup friends. Don't even just get rid of your friends who are a little anti-pickup. What you should do, though, is behave in ways that you believe in, okay? And friends that are actively telling you to stop doing that, spend less time with them. Be a little too busy to see them. Hang out more with the friends that are doing the things that are uplifting, encouraging, the type of things that you really want to do and the things you're trying to grow into. And that's something that's going to happen naturally, by the way. As you get more involved in a new hobby, all things being equal, you have friend A who is a good friend but not in that hobby, and you have friend B who is actually in that hobby. You're going to spend a lot more time, obviously, with friend B because, you have that extra thing in common. And that's just another added positive thing that the two of you guys can have together, all right? So it's going to happen naturally. It's not something you need to force. It's kind of like the free market economy of your time. But I would say definitely look for, again, that idea of the 5 people you hang out with the most are the people you're going to be most like. Look to find new people who are going to improve on your life rather than cutting out old people because they don't. And with those old people, maybe you liked playing video games with them. Well, maybe you cut the video game time by 90%, but that 10% you go hang out with them, right? Or maybe, you used to go to the gym or used to go do a particular social activity with them. Maybe you're not doing that activity as much, but that doesn't mean they can't be your friends. It doesn't mean you have to cut them out. It just means you're going to be spending a lot of time doing some other things on top of it. And the funny thing is this, guys who are getting so deeply ingrained in pickup, it's a positive thing for their life. It's a positive thing for their growth. But what happens a lot of times is they go too far with it. And there's this premise in pickup and in game that you don't want to talk to the girl about game, but you do want to talk to the girl about what you're passionate about. So if the only thing you're passionate about in life is game, it becomes very difficult at a certain point. By keeping your other friends who aren't game people, especially by keeping and growing your social circle outside of game with cool and uplifting people, you're actually going to have a lot more things to talk about, and it's actually going to, on a deep level, improve your game. So the path towards getting good at game cannot be completely focused on game because you become kind of hollow. You become this sort of like one-dimensional person, and a girl is not going to be attracted on a deep level to that one-dimensional person. It can work for a while, but it will never get you to an advanced level, all right? Also, this idea of like getting rid of your old friends, it's not socially normal, and it's not really positive for your overall like social structure, right? So again, if there's someone who's overtly negative, have a talk with them, tell them this is what you're gonna deal with, this is what you're not gonna deal with. You know, be willing to have that awkward conversation rather than cutting them off. And if they continue to be negative, maybe then cut them off, but don't start that as the default. The default should be keep your friends, find new friends, and then spend your time with the friends who you actually just enjoy and relate to the most, and that's naturally going to put you on that right path. But being tunnel vision towards pickup is not good for life, and it's not good for pickup. So please, please, please disabuse yourself of that particular notion.